Hi, I'm the Naked Firefly, and this is Mini Firefly. Welcome to my channel, Mindful Writing with the Rebel Writer. I know I've mentioned before how I love to create characters, and today I wanted to discuss my process of how I create characters. So let's get started. On a normal basis, characters would appear to me, not appear physically, but mainly in my head, and start telling me their story. Now, considering the fact that we're all writers here, I'm going to believe that that does not make me sound crazy. After finding a name and I guess you could say a face for this particular character, then I move on to a character profile sheet, of course, and I fill it out, the name, the age, their physical features, even their goals, intentions, and motives. And then I place a heart and a spirit within them. To do this, of course, like I mentioned before, do the profile sheet, and then I compare their life experiences with my own. This means sometimes digging deep within myself for snippets from my experiences in my childhood. By doing this, I not only breathe life into my characters, but I managed to find their voice as well as mine as a writer. Sometimes it is painful to touch that part of my life. In the end, it's well worth it when the characters, especially the main one, are well-rounded and there's more depth to them. So as writers, we tend to want to write our characters from the outside in, when in fact we should be trying to write them from the inside out. So that means exploring their inner first and then their outer. And I'm learning this as I go. Because usually I would write the characters and majority of the time just watch them. I guess you can say watch them, not only what I write on paper, but kind of watch them in my head. So the days that I'm not writing, I'm just thinking about them. And I'll sit there and literally watch how they move, watch how they interact with others, and listen to how they talk. And that's usually how I start to know a character. But I'm also learning as I'm meditating and getting more in touch with myself through yoga and things like that, that I could also take these same concepts and put them to my characters and dig in deep to who they are and what they're made of. And in doing this, I avoid creating a cliche hero or heroine. There is a scene in The Healer's Love, my romance novel, where the main heroine, she loses a beloved one. I'm not going to mention who, but she loses a loved one. And no matter how many times I wrote this particular scene, it seemed to never want to come out correctly. So I realized that I actually had to dig deep into that vulnerable state. So what I did is that I went inside of my closet and I sat there and I did, I guess you can say, a visualization exercise. And I revisited the funeral of a beloved family member of mine, and all the way down from all the senses, from the touch, from the way the air felt, from the way the air tasted, from the way it smelled, to the sights, to the people, and things of that nature. And let me tell you, I hated that. I hated it because, one, it made me extra vulnerable physically, and I do not like showing my vulnerability to many people on a physical level. And it made me experience so many emotions at once. And I realized by the time I was done with that and I got myself back together, it took a good day, I was able to write this scene. And she, as a matter of fact, is angry. And that's how I felt at this funeral. I was angry. I didn't show anger, of course, at the funeral because people were mourning, but I was angry internally. I just won't, I couldn't understand. I felt like at the moment that the situation could have been avoided. And um, I was just angry. So that's how I made her feel. I made her exactly this exact same emotions that I felt at that moment. I made her feel at this funeral. She felt like this could have been avoided. She felt like these people mourning were mourning for no reason. And if they were mourning, she felt like they weren't mourning right. And she was just angry at the whole entire situation. She wanted to cry. She wanted to yell. She wanted to do all these things. But being mute, one, she really couldn't do all that thing, do all that, and two, it was not part of her personality, her usual thing to do. So it was just all types of things, but it worked, and it made the scene work. Sometimes it is hard to deal with repressed memories, and we don't want to revisit them. I know that feeling all the way from childhood. There are childhood memories you don't want to revisit. There are memories that you don't want to revisit from your teen years or your adult years or even present day. But when we repress them, it festers and then it resurfaces itself later on in life. And then we don't understand why. And unfortunately, anger as well as repressed trauma and memories can actually have an effect on our health, especially if we don't address them. Now, I'm not saying we should go out and expose them to the entire world or preach them from the highest hilltop, but we should deal with them. By using our memories for our characters, we are able to actually deal with these issues and rehearse them in a way so that when it does come time for actually to face them, we're able to face them. So now we can use our characters as a mini me basically, and be able to address these issues or these memories and see like how could I actually deal with this, with what action would need to be taken. So I've also found that when I'm a more mindful or emotional writer, I'm able to write better without the judgment of my inner editor, and I'm able to just go with it. Time sometimes fly, I don't notice it, and it's just releasing actually when I'm more of a mindful and emotional writer. And then of course, eventually I have to go back, and then I'm able to listen to my inner editor or that logical part of my brain telling me, okay, look, you got grammar issues. There might be a couple of plot holes, but that character is really good, but there's a couple of things you're missing here, or there's a couple of scenes you could have added or taken away from here. Then I'm able to go back and do that. However, my characters are well developed and there's a lot of depth and flesh to them. So that's a plus. So that's one thing I don't have to fix. This also means that we have to face that fear and be willing to connect with our own inner character. And sometimes that's scary, but we have to be willing to face that fear, just take it by its horns and be like, I'm ready for you. Free writing a present day experience using all of the senses, like for 15 minutes non-stop, can actually be free, can actually help you develop the characters for your work. It also can address some things that you might have, but just free writing it present day. You can also take your inner child or your child you and put them in a natural setting and have them experience this natural setting, whether it be the mountains or the beach or the desert, whatever, and have them or the playground, wherever you want your child you to be at, and have them experience all the five senses as well. And you just look through your child you eyes and experience all this, as well as be that camera and watch your child you. And that's more of a visualization exercise. You go and you sit down as if you're getting ready to meditate, and you feel what your child you is feeling, as well as watching your child you like a home movie almost. And you do this for a bit, and then you write it down while you're sitting right there. Don't move from that spot. Just write it down for like 15 minutes, and then nonstop. And then there you go. And then you can also, while you're still sitting in the same spot, take your character that you're working on in your current piece or past piece, or just make up a random character. It doesn't even matter. They don't even have to have a name. And make sure they're in first person. Now you are your character, first person, and write down a particular scene, or put them at the beach where you were just at, or put them at the mountains where you were just at. And how would your character react, or not even really react, how would they respond to their surroundings in this area? Do that for 15 minutes, nonstop, first person, and just go for it. See where it takes you. And then after you're done, you can put in the comment section if you want. You don't actually have to put the actual scene in the comment section if you don't want to share that, that's fine. But if you want to talk about like how that made you feel and everything, put that in the comment section. Or you can share it on your own social media post, or you can actually hide it away and be done with it. Like hide it away, not be done with it, but hide it away or lock it away for future projects, or for a project that you're working on. You're like, let me go back and get this scene right quick and somehow incorporate it into this work that I'm working on right now. Do what you want with it. It's yours once you do it. However, notice the release that you experience and that what you're feeling, and from then on, you'll be able to create more in-depth, more flesh-worthy characters from then on, because now you're able to experience what they experience. Even if, and I know that's kind of difficult, because I know we're always told to write what we know, but I believe at this point we should write what we feel, because even if I've never been a baker, like I can go downstairs right now and look up a recipe, Pinterest, for bread baking. I have baked bread. Let me make that clear. But let's just say I had never baked bread in my life. I'm going to follow this recipe, and let's just say that my character is a baker. Now I'm going to sit there and I'm going to bake this bread. I'm going to feel the muscles he or she would have to use to be able to knead this bread. What smells they would experience as they're mixing the ingredients together, or the bread rising, or the bread baking. And now I'm going to go to maybe a bakery or a cafe on one of my days, maybe even with the children, and just listen to how people interact in this bakery, the sounds that would be there, just everything. And I've never worked in a bakery, but now I have this fleshed out character, and I've placed them in a bakery. How would I feel working in this bakery day in, day out? Because is this my dream, or is this just a job that I happen to be lucky enough to get, and I have other dreams, other goals, but it feels like I've been stuck here for like, I don't know, X amount of years? I can now place myself in this character's footsteps, his shoes or her shoes, and visualize what it would be like. Write what it would be like. Feel the emotions that she would feel the mental things that would go on inside of his head. So that's the whole point of this. Comments if you have anything else to add to this, if there's anything that I might have left out, or anything that you just want to share. Also subscribe, share the video, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and peace and love.